Hello fellow YouTubers, today's Friday, October 12, and it's still wet. We had that sort of a supercell come through Wednesday, which I showed in the video in Wednesday's upload. It dropped 33mm in the gauge. Yesterday it rained all day and most of the night we had ended up with 90mm in the gauge. And today there was an extra 15. It sort of backed off a little bit today, but there's a lot more forecast in the next three days, Saturday, Sunday and Monday, with an average of about 30mm forecast for each day. But yeah, it doesn't rain, it pours, but that's okay. That's okay, don't bother me at all. Yep. And yeah, oh, well, it does stop me from going out and doing a few things. I know my friend Glenda, aka GK Phelan, is probably waiting with bated breath for me to get out there and do my wave, smile and wave, which is part of the movement she started. But I haven't been able to. It's just been too wet, and now the school holidays are over. But that's okay. That's no worries. I can probably kill two birds with one stone if I go down to the Botanic Gardens. Who knows? Or go down to the mall. Whatever. So yes, well that's the weather for today, Friday, and what's coming up. Now, a medical report. I finished the this stuff, 7-day therapy. I didn't do anything, so it's patent obvious I was wrong. That the symptoms I felt, which were the same as I had the pylori bacteria. What is it? The Helicobacter pylori, and but not this time. Didn't work. My gut's still playing up. To wake up in the morning feeling sick as a dog and nauseous. It goes on all day. Nothing changes. 24/7. Anyhow, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And as for the Ellipta, the Ellipta medication is no better or worse than the Ultibro. But it's handier because I only got to take the one medication, whereas the Ultibro, it was along with Pulmicort. So anyhow, I got the script for Ellipta. Like I say, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It probably works better for some other people, but it doesn't work very good for me. And I've really had problems with my breathing of late. I really have. And of course, this rain and humidity doesn't help. But such is life. You might have complained. Well, I would complain if anyone listened. Of course you listen. I know you listen. That lighting again, that really ticks me off. Actually, I've had a cardigan on because this morning I had a doctor's appointment this morning. Went into town at 10:45 and told the doctor that nothing's working. He got me to take, gave me a script for Buscopan, which is for specialised relief for stomach ache and pain due to cramps or spasms. But he gave me a script, but don't need a script because it's sold over the counter. The only thing is, when I buy it over the counter, it's $2 dearer than what I get it on the PBS. Anyhow, so be it. So what? That's the way it goes. Yeah, the only thing that really has worked, that I can really say has worked for me, is the Duodart, which is the medication to reduce the size of my prostate. That works. I'm peeing like a champion these days. I can pee out a window, pee over the fence. The fence is 1.8 metres high, 6 feet. Not quite, but well, gives you an indication about. Oh, by the way, to my friend Glenda again, I have designed an emblem for what will be Emphysema Man. That's the E and the M. And I'm going to make an emblem up in a costume, and I'm going to do a song. I'm planning on doing a song to the Superman, the movie theme. I'm just a man, an older man, but inside I'm Emphysema Man. Something like that. But anyhow, that's going to take a bit of doing. So we'll see what happens. Oh, now I'm as dry as a bone. I've been as dry as a bone Well, I've had dry mouth syndrome for a long, long time. I tried those. No, it's Mama Peewee, Papa Peewee as well. Just flocked in. Plenty of worms around for them, plenty of food, plenty of water. What was I saying? Oh, dry mouth syndrome. Yeah, I've suffered from dry mouth syndrome for ages, years. Tried the things that they have available. They didn't work, don't work at all. Well, they leave a terrible taste in your mouth. I did have a terrible taste in my mouth too from taking that 7-day therapy stuff. Right at the back of the mouth, on the top palate. Very, very bitter taste, but it's gone now. Well, I'm going to have a sip of tea, if you'll excuse me. Okay, well, I will do a reading because I know my friend Stephen is waiting, also with bated breath, on the edge of his stool, he told me, to find out what happens to Jeremy. Well, there's a lot in store for Jeremy, I can tell you. Oh, yeah. As he stood in saturated socks watching the water level slowly drop, he made to raise his left arm with the intention of grabbing the bottom rim of the bucket with his hand. But as he did so, he knocked the bottle of disinfectant onto its side, spilling some of the contents over the hamper lid in the brief moment in time before he righted it. He was livid, but he kept it in. Running thoughts of self-damnation and criticism through his mind as he did what he intended to do before the aggravating mishap. Emptying the bucket and tempted now to slam the bloody thing against the floor on this fucking frigging bastard goddamn mongrel of a morning of just another day. For several moments Jerry stood motionless. Torso forward, legs straight, forearms resting on the front edge of the laundry tub, limp-wristed. Breathing slow and methodical. As he waited for his inner demons to subside and compose himself. Then the phone rang, but of course it would. Quickly peeling off his socks and dropping them into the laundry tub, Jeremy tiptoed gingerly across the section of wet floor and then scuff dried his feet as best he could on a small apron of tile floor that was dry. Thankful for small mercies on this morning of just another day. 2 minutes later, arriving on the scene, and the water would have invaded the kitchen and seeped in under the linoleum. And if that had happened, Jeremy reckoned he might have slit his wrist. "Hello," he answered abruptly. He could hear background noise and knew straight away it was one of those calls. One of those annoying bastards waiting in silence to make sure it wasn't an answering service before beginning their introduction in a prelude to selling or requesting a donation for only God knows what. And Jeremy hung up without another word. Jeremy did that all the time these days, without exception. Fed up with the plethora of nuisance calls and those of others who, for whatever reason, hesitated. After all, if someone couldn't respond within 3 seconds, then it was someone he didn't want to talk to in the first place. I do that, yeah. There's a lot of Jeremy in me, as if you haven't guessed already. His wife and others had told him many times in the past that he had an arrogant tone on the phone, and Jeremy liked that. Gave the impression he didn't want to talk to whoever it was, and most of the time that was true. Entering the laundry, he tiptoed to the tub, picked up the bucket, placed the recap detergent bottle into the tub, grabbed hold of the hamper, stepped outside onto the patio, turned the bucket upside down. To hell with it, it was clean enough. Exposed the hamper to the elements, a clothes hamper, that's what they call them. If the rain washed the disinfectant onto the lawn and killed it, he didn't give a fuck. Retraced his steps, gathered the mop, then entered the laundry and immediately set about mopping up. Jerry didn't care too much about mop work at the best of times. It was something that just had to be done to maintain the status quo of regular housework. But soaking up wet water was boring, repetitious, and the goddamn pain in the arse. Back and arms, get nowhere fast, down, dab, lift, pivot, squeeze, pivot, a down, dab bastard of a job, and that was only the beginning. The washing machine and dryer had to be moved forward. But of course they would be. To enable Jeremy once again to a down, dab, lift, pivot, squeeze. Pivot, down, dab. Jeremy thought he'd better make sure the cold water tap to the washing machine was off. Otherwise, the way things were going on this stinking shit of a morning of just another day, he'd end up pulling the hose loose and have to start all over again, and wouldn't that well and truly piss him off? Oh yeah. After what had seemed an eternity, Jeremy finally finished the laborious task. Placed the mop outside, hand washed, rinsed and wrung out his socks, and then placed them on the contents of the washing machine into the dryer and turned it on. The floor in his clothes would be dry in no time at all. With a bucket 1/3 full of warm water sitting on the floor just to the right of the carpet stain, to right here, Jeremy gathered up the wet rags and placed them into the bucket and, satisfied the carpet was dry enough to vacuum, wasted no time in extracting the vacuum cleaner from the hall closet, plugging it in and doing just that. The instructions on the bottle carpet cleaner were easy and straightforward. Pour on a damp rag and rub until the liquid frothed and foamed. Pat dry, repeat the process and leave the foam for 20 to 30 minutes, then vacuum. Jeremy hoped he wouldn't have to repeat the procedure a third time, as per the extra instructions for the particularly stubborn stains. But with his luck on this malevolent morning of just another day, he probably would. Why, there was even the possibility he wouldn't be able to completely remove the stain. And wouldn't that be Jim Dandy and ever so peachy? It was a thought that came and went before he had a chance to dismiss it. Replaced in an instant as he sat back on his folded legs by the biting pain from the little toe on his left foot. "Oh, cramp!" he yelled, throwing his torso back, then right and kicking out his left leg. "Cramp, cramp, you bastard!" he cursed, grabbing the toe with his left hand and pulling it back. "Goddamn son of a bitch!" Like a recalcitrant child, Jeremy sat, knees bunched, right arm wrapped around his lower legs, gripping the toe that, while no longer painful and rigid, continued with intermittent spasms that threatened a repeat performance, should he release the pressure of his hand. Oh, I've had those little toe cramps. Oh, where your toe goes straight. Several minutes later he did, and except for a minor fibrillating tick, all was well. Well, as well as they could possibly bear in this nightmare morning of just another day. 1 minute on and Jeremy was standing before the kitchen sink filling the jug. It was time for tea and a sandwich. By the time the jug boiled, Jeremy had succeeded in locating the jar of peanut butter. He knew for certain there was a jar inside the refrigerator, but, like it was with the laundry cabinet, kitchen cupboard, pantry and the medicine cabinet, just to name a few, there were a myriad of bottles, jars, tubes, cartons and storage containers that needed to be moved or taken off the shelves in order to access the deepest recesses to locate whatever it was he was looking for. Oh yeah. Doesn't that really that really angers me, you know. My wife is in the habit of exactly as I said there. And you're looking for something, you damn well can't find it. You've got to pull stuff out left, right, and everything's a booby trap. You move something, something falls on the floor. If you're lucky, the lid doesn't come off or it doesn't spill. But most of the time you're not. And anyhow, then you grumble and growl, and you've got to clean up the mess, and then you throw out what was in the thing because it's been contaminated now. Oh, I could go on and on and on, but I won't. Except for the milk, butter and Vegemite, Jeremy could not remember being able to open the refrigerator door and find what he wanted right there and then. But of course, he wouldn't. The inside of the refrigerator door was a different story, inasmuch that Jeremy, with the exception of the squeezed bottle of tomato sauce, just didn't bother with most of them. His wife had a habit of buying and storing dozens of bottles of salad dressings, sauces and condiments, many of which Jeremy didn't like and wouldn't use. True. And to open each and every one herself. Use them now and again, then leave most of them put long after their use-by date. Ooh. That would be okay if she eventually got around to throwing them out. But she never did. No. She would wait for Jeremy to make a comment so she, Doreen, could lay the blame squarely on his shoulders and carry on because he, Jeremy, would throw them out. Then she, Doreen, could say what a waste it was and why didn't he, Jeremy, use them in the first place, and maybe he, Jeremy, shouldn't be so paranoid about such things. Isn't that just like that? Well, I won't say, because Jeremy says that, well, it's at the end of the next paragraph. Jeremy wasn't paranoid about such things. He was just careful. Very careful. He had had food poisoning once and he didn't want to experience it again. No way. Not when he had control of what he would and wouldn't eat in his own home. Fair enough. Like it was with small goods, Doreen would often... Like it was with the small goods, Doreen would often buy from the supermarket delicatessen. I'm very careful with those things. Small plastic bags containing slices of ham, silverside, chicken, and Polish salami that all members of the family enjoyed, but were meant, listen to this, to Jeremy's way of thinking, and Jeremy's right here, to be used within 2 or 3 days of purchase. Oh yes, but not Doreen. She was of the opinion that they could languish inside the refrigerator for a week. No problem. Yeah, right, and pigs might fly. She wouldn't eat any of them after that period, of course. Oh no. She would ask Jeremy if he remembered when she bought them, which of course he did. Oh, I kill myself sometimes. What's that? Pardon me. Sorry about that. Then have the unmitigated gall to vilify him for not throwing them all out. Which if he had done so before, she would have castigated him for being so wasteful. Oh well, that's a woman for you. Oh, I'm going to leave it at that. This is going to be a long video, and the trouble is with long videos is that people get bored with them very quickly. You know, the YouTube audience is very impatient. You know, even I remember uploading a 29-second video once, and you know, on my analytics it showed that even that 29 seconds was not watched entirely by the greater majority of viewers. Yeah, only 60% of it. 29 seconds. Now how impatient do you have to be not to be able to watch a 29-second video? Anyhow, that's what people like. So with these long videos of mine, not many people watch them in their entirety. Some will, because they enjoy the reading, or maybe they'll scroll through to the reading, I don't know. But yeah, that's the trouble. I looked at my analytics only a couple of days ago, and my view time is way down. It's down by 18%. Oh, well, what do you expect? Oh, I'm just a little small fry in the big YouTube pond. Oh well, such is life. Ove. That's Ove, by the way. Oyvey is Yiddish for so be it, or that's the way it is. I've often said Ove in replies. Well, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say and the reading. And until next time, bye for now. Smile and wave movement.